So hello, welcome to the video and welcome to Bonaire's Flamingo Airport, named after one of the two animals I've seen most of on my time here. Pretty happy they picked this one actually, as Bonaire Donkey Airport doesn't have quite the same ring to it. Time to leave though, and I'm flying today up to Miami on American Airlines. At a 3-hour flight I believe, and I think it's on a 737. I wouldn't perhaps have picked Miami as my destination. You don't get a lot of options when flying out of Bonaire, so it was basically Miami or Amsterdam, so Miami it is. And I'm flying in economy class today. It's actually a redemption ticket that I bought some months ago, although my gold status with British Airways does allow me to select one of the up-front seats, which have a rather promising amount of legroom, and I believe I'll get a free beer as well. So if you'd like to see what Bonaire Flamingo Airport is like and see what my flight up to Miami is like, stick around.
Hi, I'm Matt. I've lived in 5 countries on 4 continents. I've flown over 1.4 million miles. I've visited over 100 countries, every American state, but I'm nowhere near done. So subscribe to see where I go next and perhaps get some inspiration for your next trip. Check-in at Bonaire is open to the elements, albeit under a high roof. There's only 10 to 20 flights departing the airport each day, most of which are operated by extremely small aircraft, so it wasn't busy. There were automated check-in kiosks, although as I needed to have my vaccination status checked, yes, that's still a thing for entering the USA, I needed to make it to a desk. OneWorld standards were well observed when it came to offering a separate line for premium passengers. The fan helped keep us cool. My vaccine docs were rapidly checked, and yes, Miami was my final destination. There is a small restaurant landside along with a very expensive souvenir shop, neither of which were of great interest to me, so I headed for the security lane, even though there was still 2 hours before the flight. I had checked that the inbound flight was on time before I did so. Into the most air-conditioned area I'd encountered anywhere on Bonaire, to a shoes-on security checkpoint. And after that I was stamped out of Bonaire and was through into the small departure lounge. There's a small snack bar airside and not a lot else. To the right was an outdoor terrace area which for some reason I only actually noticed just before boarding started. It probably would have been a more pleasant place to wait than this inside space. And a small duty-free shop which offered poor value based on my brief investigations. Time passed and the plane arrived. It pulled into the same space our KLM 777 had. Smaller planes to nearby islands park in front of the terminal, but that seemed to be the only spot with sufficient underwheel reinforcements to take the weight of a jet. Despite this being a redemption booking which must have been linked to my BA account, my status had not fed through to my boarding pass and I'd not noticed that at check-in. But I showed I was gold and was allowed through with Group 2. There's a strong argument for spending as little time as possible in an economy seat by getting on last, but they'd announced that the plane was full and anyone boarding in groups 7 through 9 would likely have to have their bags checked at the gate. I was keen to get on and get my bags safely stashed, plus these days I like to get on early to film things before the plane fills up. One last blast of Bonaire sun and up into this 23-year-old Boeing 737-800. It really didn't look 23 years old though, probably because it was refitted with this layout last year. There were 4 rows of North American first class seating in a 2-2 configuration. No seats in this cabin had been available when I booked, but I was keen to see what the main cabin extra seating was like in economy, which I'd been able to reserve without charge as an Emerald OneWorld member. And it was really good. 33 inches of legroom, which, quite remarkably, is 2 or 3 more than you get in British Airways European business class these days. A device holder, a table which needs to extend as it's so far away from you. Plus a conveniently located USB charger. Above were lights and personal air vents. The plane duly loaded to capacity, and after a short taxi to the runway we were off. Quite a spectacular departure, so I'll linger on it and find something appropriate in the YouTube audio library. There was high-speed Wi-Fi available, which American uses to deliver in-flight entertainment. Quite a strong range of options, I thought. Be sure to download the app before boarding. There's also paid Wi-Fi, $12 for an hour, but better value was $16 for the whole 2.5-hour flight. That's still expensive to my eyes, and I was content to get 20 minutes of free access in return for watching an ad. As I make you all watch ads, I thought it was the least I could do. There's usually not much to show when it comes to in-flight service in economy class, but all passengers sitting in the main cabin extra seats get complimentary drinks and a snack, regardless of how they ended up in that seat. I went for a bourbon and diet Coke, although I should have asked for Coke Zero, but it was nice nevertheless, accompanied by mini pretzels. Cheers! After this service, everything of note took place outside the plane. It was a beautiful day. Here was a cruise ship passing by the coast of Haiti. Shortly after that we crossed the coastline of Cuba and got some great views of the interior of the country. We also got a good view of Ocean Key, which is MSC's private-ish island in the Bahamas, although it didn't show up that well on the camera. We could see another couple of cruise ships heading out from Florida before a spectacular descent into Miami, which I'll show in full. This was a reward flight booked through BA about 7 months ahead of travel. I think I was quite lucky to find availability, as there's only 3 flights a week from Miami and not many other services to Bonaire from the USA. It cost me just 11,000 avios and £52 in taxes. If an avio is worth 1p, that's £163, when a one-way flight costs around £400 if purchased normally. One-way international flights do tend to be pricey, and there's no competition on this particular route to Bonaire, both of which will inflate the cash price of a ticket. Bonaire is actually quite a tricky place to get to, except of course from Amsterdam. And off the plane into Miami Airport as an international arrival, so off to do battle with the immigration queues, but perhaps for the last time. When I'd been in Bonaire, I'd received notice that my application for global entry had been approved, which made me eligible to complete the registration process with an interview on arrival. So although it ended up taking about 30 minutes to make it to an immigration desk, I was then able to complete that interview, which should make future arrivals into the USA much, much quicker. I've documented the full process of obtaining global entry, except the interview of course, and will be making a video showing exactly what happened. So I do like American Airlines, and I particularly liked the main cabin extra seat that was available to me as an Emerald tier member of a OneWorld scheme. I took another flight in these economy extra seats up to New York the following day, and although I didn't film it, the experience was very consistent. The perks offered make economy class really quite comfortable, and I wish BA would offer something similar. Indeed, it has probably inspired me to renew my gold membership when it expires later this year. But the best thing about the flight had to be the magnificent views from the window. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave the video a like if you did. Please comment, have you tried main cabin extra seats on American? Would you? Please subscribe if you're new, and if you'd like to support what I'm doing more directly, there is a Patreon account, the link to which is in the description below. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.